Hi there. Welcome to Craft with Kathy. And I'm coming at you live from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line. Let me know where you're viewing from. Don't be shy. Say hello. And we'll get started really shortly. I'm sitting here looking in it again. My prompts have changed on Facebook. I can't share to my VIP group. It's like, seriously, it's every day it's a little bit different, and I don't know quite what to expect. Guess it keeps us all on our toes, doesn't it? So funny. So tonight's project is called Gather Together, and it is another transfer that's suitable for kitchen decor. It says the kitchen, a place where friends and family gather together. And I know I had said I was going to probably be doing wood the next two lives, but I changed my mind on this. I thought about it, and I don't know, for some reason I wasn't actually going to do this just yet, but the beet kind of appealed to me. I know beets are real popular right now, and there's beet powder, and there's all these health benefits being touted for beets. I'm not quite sure I know a lot about them. I just know I like beets. Always have. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to do, and instead of doing it on wood, I am going to do it on this adorable galvanized metal tray. Now the transfer is 12 by 18, so it's slightly larger than the tray. The tray is like, oh, let's see. Well, it can't be 9. Couldn't really be 9. I know the top flares out a little bit. It's 11 by 17. So I'm going to get a little bit of the edges coming up the sides. That's fine. But what I want to make sure that I do before I start this is, because this is galvanized metal, and I rarely do metal, but occasionally, whenever you're going to use your transfer, because it's adhesive back on metal, glass, mirror, and acrylic, you want to fuzz that transfer. Because anything that's non-porous like this, the transfer will stick to very, very strongly. And you don't want to have to pull and tug to get it off, because then you run the possibility of stretching or distorting the silk screen. And you don't want to do that, because our transfers are reusable 8 to 12 times or more with proper care. So I'm going to pull the transfer out of the package, and I am going to fuzz it like crazy so that I don't run into that issue. And we'll get started. I'm just going to use, I think, 3 or 4 different colors on this. I think it'll be cute. Hi, Deb. Everyone's good here. How are you doing? I am making a galvanized metal tray with this cute kitchen sign. Let me get this out of the packaging here. I added a little bit of distilled water to my Cadet Blue chalk paste. Let me get my little stir stick out of the way. It basically says the kitchen, a place where friends and family gather together. And this is a 12 by 18 inch transfer, and I'm going to fuzz it quite a bit so that it does not stick to my galvanized tray. And the only thing that I could offer about galvanized metal is, when you use it, give a little bit of thought to what colors you're going to put on it, what color paste you're going to use. Obviously, if you use gray or silver, it would kind of fade into this. You wouldn't really see it too much. So I would suggest deeper or richer colors. I'm going to be using the Current Jam, my Cadet Blue, which is kind of like a navy, my meadow green and the jade, and I'm probably going to mix the jade and the meadow on the leaves for kind of like a hot mess technique in it. No, you never want to mat. You never want to mat. I'm sorry. The mouth isn't working too well. You never want to mat. You never want to wax galvanized metal, glass, or mirror, or acrylic. But you do want to fuzz your transfer, because you don't want it to stick very snugly to this, because it will stick very smoothly because it's such a smooth, non-porous surface. So I'm going to remove this transfer from its backer, but before I do that, I'm going to write the name of the transfer on the back, and my mind just totally flaked together. I know this. I don't know what's with me today, whatever. Oh, I had to mix up my cadet paste. I realized I probably haven't used it in a long time. I'm thinking probably when I was doing some patriotic things for red, white, and blue. So I had to add a little bit of distilled water to it and thin it down. It had gotten a little thick. So that's what I was doing, and obviously I still have paste on my fingers. So let me pull this off the transfer. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently just because of the size. This is a 12 by 18 inch transfer going onto an 11 by 17 inch tray. You put the backer aside so it's out of my way. Now, a couple little things that you want to do with larger transfers. You want to obviously be careful that they do not fold on themselves. And sometimes I would use two fuzzing cloths for something this large. You might make it a little bit easier to handle, but one actually will pretty much do it, I think. I don't know where my other fuzzing cloth went to. And I could actually do it either way. Probably easier this way. Lift it off the transfer, apply it again, smooth it, pick up a little bit of fuzz. I will not lift this up and put it down. I will, in one piece, I'll just lift up half of it and then lay it down and do it again. It makes it a little bit easier to handle. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of fuzzing on the edges here where I'm not quite catching it. Oh, there's my other fuzzing cloth. Here we go. And let's do this a little bit differently then. Make a little bit more room here because I definitely want this fuzzed enough so that it does not stick too strongly to my surface. If it sticks too strongly, you have to be careful when you're lifting it up because you don't want to stretch it. And I know this doesn't seem like there's a lot of stick to this right now, but believe me, too much yet. You see how it pulls? It's definitely too much to go onto a galvanized metal surface, because by the time I'm done applying paste, it's going to be a challenge to lift it up, and I don't want to run into that. Of course, I don't want it to be totally not sticky where it shifts around, but I don't think that'll be an issue. I'm going to move this around a little bit so I don't have the seam in the same spot. So, the big thing to be careful is you don't want your large transfers to fold on themselves and stick to themselves. If they do, then you want to gently pull apart where it's stuck together. If you can't, kind of nudge it apart or gently lift it apart, you may have to bring it over to the sink and wet it and let the water do most of the work for you. Yes, I know my phone keeps beeping. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know. I have the same phone, but I had to switch phones because I damaged my other phone. And whereas it's the same model and everything else, this one acts a little bit differently, and I realized I lost my special ringtones and a couple other things didn't really come across. It thinks it brought everything across. It thinks it brought everything across except my notepad. And interestingly enough, notepad came across fine, so go figure on that. Oops. Now see, I just pinched it and had that stuck to each other, but it came unstuck pretty easily because it was fuzzed. So if you ever do get a transfer that sticks to itself, just be patient with it. If you have any damage in a great big area like this, where it's just the vinyl and no silk screen, don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt anything. But you definitely don't want to pull or distort the silk screen. And our transfers are made out of the vinyl, which is the teal. The silk screen, you're actually able to see through it. And the reason you don't want to pull or tug is it's kind of like fabric. If you pull it on the bias, it could stretch or distort. So that's really the only thing about non-porous surfaces that you have to keep in mind. And remember, just fuzz, fuzz, fuzz. And yeah, I'm almost done. I know this seems pretty extreme, but believe me, it needs it. The right side here seems like it still sticks quite a bit. If you had seen the first time I did a transfer, a large transfer on a window, you know why I'm doing this. I did a fairly large Santa when I was pretty much a newbie designer, and it went very, very well, but I was a little slow at it because just, you know, I was new and whatever, and there wasn't a lot of area to put my tools on because I'm actually standing at the back door with the door open, doing it on the outside of the window, and it was a little interesting when it came time to lift it off. I mean, it came out fine and the transfer wasn't damaged, but it stuck more than I expected it to. Okay, so like I said, this is a little bit larger, so it's going to have to go up the edges and up the sides. I just want to make sure that I do that as evenly as possible. And I'm looking here, this galvanized tray has a little bit of a ridge, if you will, and it's not even, so I know the left side has to come up a little bit. So I'm going to lift that and adjust it again a little bit. I'll use that little ridge as kind of like a place to line up where this should go. So I'm actually applying it more to the ridge before I am the bottom. There we go. I'm going to lift this, make sure I don't have any air bubbles in here. I do have one here. And just gently set it down and go over it. I want to make sure my wording is complete on the bottom here. Oh, I realize I'm off camera. I need to move that up a little bit. But I want to get all my words down. Okay, I think I'm fine. Got a little air bubble in here. You lift it. Move it out. Okay. Oops, another air bubble. Yeah, this is a little challenging being that I've got it stuck to all four edges. Maybe I won't set it down quite as snugly on the edges here and see what I get. Air bubble underneath the teal I'm not worried about. It's just under the silk screen that I'm concerned. Okay. So let's get started. This is my jade, and I have some jade and meadow, and I'm going to do a little bit of the hot mess technique with the jade and the meadow. I'm going to kind of mix it up, use both colors. Oops, grabbed the wrong jar. I'm going to make sure I don't have any paste on my, any of the contrasting paste, the jade on my stir stick when I stick it back in the jar. Okay. And where normally I would go over it with my fingers, a wet finger, I'm not going to. I'm just going to kind of smear this up a little bit and do my own little hot mess like this. So I get a mixture of the greens. Oops, I kind of went over the dots there and I didn't intend to. I suppose I can make my dots green. And I think I will because I just went over them inadvertently. I was going to go with the current jam there, but I think this will be fine. Just catch my dots here. And then remove the excess paste. And I think I've got enough paste here to probably do my green at the top of my beet. So I've got that out of the way. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to add my current jam for the beet. I'm going to get right up there next to the green, but I don't want to go over it. Got a little bit of too much paste on the wrong side of the squeegee here. Okay. Let me smooth this out. Put the excess back in the jar. I did not put the green back in the jar because it was a mixture of two colors of paste, so I couldn't do that. I'm going to take my little detail tool and help lift up this transfer from the top, kind of pry it away from the sides, and then I'm going to do the paste and peel this up so that it's not drying in my silk screen as I work on the rest of it. This is when you need someone to hold down your surface. You need an extra hand here to get at it. There we go. And I think that's fine. Now let that rest a moment while I clean my fingers. And actually, let's see, I do not, I'm going to use the other green at the bottom. I was trying to decide if I was using the green, the meadow or the jade on the bottom, but I'm going to use the meadow. So let me cover up my jade and put it away so it doesn't dry out. Give me a moment. I've got both fuzzing cloth sitting on my lap. I just need to grab a paper towel and clean my fingers. This is going to be a relatively quick project given the size of it. But you can see how simple and easy it is once we got the hard part of the fuzzing out of the way. And I think with the galvanized metal, you always want to use a more vibrant color, something deep and rich that's going to show up against that metal. Okay, most of the paste is off of my fingers. Okay, now let's see. I just want to lay this back down. I'm not going to press it down. Just want to make sure my wording here is down. And I'm going to do the kitchen in my cadet blue. I wanted something very vibrant and very, I wanted it to basically stand out. Let me grab a stir stick here. Clean stir stick. Oops, nope, hang on, I gotta clean the stir stick. Now, obviously, this tray will not be washable because this is paste, not ink. But if I wanted to, I could actually spray this with sealer once I'm done and make it permanent. And that's probably what I'll end up doing with it. I'm going to switch to my larger squeegee so that I could do these letters rather quickly. I might have hit a little air bubble there. I'm not quite sure. It looks a little funky to me. I'm not quite sure. I turned the overhead light off because of the glare. So I'm going to put the excess paste back in the jar, and then I'm quickly going to do my meadow on the bottom letters. And I think I'm pretty much off camera. Let me scoot this up here so you can see this part of it. I'm notorious for missing the top and the bottom of the letters, and it's usually because I can't see with the low light if I've gotten everything. So I'm going to go back over this and be careful to make sure I've gotten everything. Bring it towards me and take a gander. See the top there? I wasn't getting all of it. And I'm just kind of smoothing out the excess paste, putting it back in the jar. I'm going to take a quick peek at this off camera. Looks good. Think I've got it all. Okay. I see a clump of blue here. I mean a streak. And you don't want streaks because when you lift up the transfer, it could actually be a line that you're seeing there. And that wouldn't be as pretty. So let me move my paste all out of the way. Woo. Cadet overboard. It actually rolled. And I am going to pull this towards me again. You can see how much more it's stuck now that it's been on here longer. Maybe I'll grab the detail tool and go from the other end. Here we go. I'm going to pull up gently. I don't want to put any excessive force on it. I need another hand. And obviously I don't want to set my finger down where I've got any paste. Okay, I've got a little bleed here with the E, but I will worry about that once it's dry, because especially since this is on galvanized metal, I could come back here after it's dry and use my little pointy edge of the detail tool and just kind of scrape that off and line it all up. Same with on the bottom here. I might have been a little bit too heavy with the paste or put a little bit too much force down on it. So I will set this aside to dry. And it looks like my video has stopped. I'm not quite sure if it's recording this or not, but it's stalled on my end, and let's just hope it's my internet and not Facebook. So this is pretty much it. Quick, simple, easy. Little tray on galvanized metal. The kitchen, a place where friends and family gather together. How sweet. Hanging on the wall, or if I seal it, it could actually be used as a tray. I wouldn't wash it though, and I wouldn't put food directly on it even with the sealer, but it'd be a nice tray for carrying refreshments or whatever. Thank you so much for watching tonight. I surely do appreciate it. Have a great evening. I'll see you soon.